Good evening. Who's on with me? Hey, Jessica, how are you? I got all your questions ready to go tonight. Is Miss Ruby with you? Hey, Lamons, welcome in. Doing very well. How are you tonight? We'll wait a little bit for a few more to join. Ruby and Steve. Hey, Steve. Hi, Ruby. I assume that Steve's going to do the Mohawk. Um, can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Sparkle Mohawk that Ruby wants us to do. Glitter. That's the word. I couldn't think of the word. Glitter. I'll take that as a maybe. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hopefully we get a few more to join and then we can get rolling here pretty soon. I can't remember what color did Ruby say we're doing. Christmas colors. Whoa. Wow. I do love Christmas and it will be Christmassy there. For some reason, I had purple in my head. So kind of like the idea of red and green. I'll have to make sure I have a shirt that matches. Who else is with us tonight? Oh, that's okay. No worries. I know there's a delay, I think, regardless of whether you're watching on your phone or the television. I'm not sure how long the delay is, though. How was everybody's day today? Another happy Taco Tuesday, although I had tacos last night, not today. Oh, that's cool. You're much smarter technology-wise than I am, that's for sure. Hello, Lamons. How are you? How's your day going? I'm going to send some messages out. Ruby, if I could get away with it, I'd probably have tacos just about every day. Good, Lamont. I'm glad that you're doing well. Hey, Blake, I have your question ready to go. I'm just waiting a few more minutes, see if we can get some more folks to join. Then we'll get rolling. But your question is up first, Blake. Hey, CC, welcome in. Hey, Tina, how are you? Welcome in. Happy to see you tonight. How is everybody's Taco Tuesday? My Taco Tuesday started yesterday when I had my tacos. And tonight I had raviolis for dinner. Tina, it is absolutely and always will be a great day to be alive. You are exactly right. Hey, Jules, welcome in. Me, myself, and I, all three of us, Jessica, are going to have cake with you on November 12th. I heard a rumor that it's somebody's birthday. That's why we're having cake. Anybody know whose birthday it might be? Hey, JJ, welcome in. Somebody's birthday. So, Ruby, depending on how much cake I get to have, will determine how much glitter goes in my hair. How's that sound? It's her. Well, if she's going to eat all the cake, then she's getting all the glitter. Have to decide, Ruby, what's most important, the cake or the glitter? That sounds good. Yeah. I figured I could sway a piece of cake out of her. Yeah, JJ, somehow, I mean, it's kind of like this person I know that had me wear their mermaid ears for half a day at Magic Kingdom. Now I've got a little someone who is planning on doing a Christmas colored mohawk when we're down there in November. Hey, Helen, welcome in. So I'm sure you can't imagine, JJ, that I would do something like that. Oh, thanks. I like that, Tina. I like that. I like that a lot better than the pickle last year. That's for darn sure. That pickle was harsh on me. All right, so let's get rolling. It's about 5 after, or 35 after the top of the hour. So let's get rolling. So I've got a handful of questions that came in. Blake, you're the first one up, so hopefully you're still with me. I see you commented, hi, Helen, so I think you're here. Steve, we'll have to talk. I think there's opportunity there for you to take in the Christmas spirit at Disney with me. Anyway, okay, Blake, you're still here. So Blake had asked, how do I register my family for the water park on our first day at the resort? So take a step backwards. For anybody who's not aware, this year at Disney, if you're staying on property, the check-in day, you get free water park admission. It's only on check-in day. Hey, Lauren, welcome in. It's only on check-in day that you get it. You do not have to do anything, like to register. Either the morning of your check-in or possibly the day before, it will appear in your My Disney Experience app with your plans. As you know, I was just there a couple weeks ago. It wasn't on my plans until like the day before, the night before. I happened to be scrolling through and it was there. So it will automatically appear. You don't have to do anything to register or get it added to your account or anything like that. It will be there. If for some reason when you do arrive at your resort, it's not in your app, let them know at the check-in counter and they'll get it taken care of for you. But should absolutely be there. I had no issues with it. It was there. We didn't go because we didn't get to our resort till about 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon, but it should be good to go. Hey, Sherry, welcome in. Glad to have you on. So Blake, hopefully that helps. But yeah, they automatically load it. There's nothing that you have to do other than make sure you have your swimsuits and enjoy the free water park day. All right, Jessica, you are up next. Jessica had a handful of questions. Helen says she's frozen. Is anybody else frozen? Am I frozen? I hope I'm not frozen. On my end, it looks good. Nope, not frozen. All good. Okay, perfect. Helen, it must be hospital Wi-Fi. Lauren, there's no better time to take advantage of free water park than in August. That's for darn sure. No doubt about it. So, okay. So Jessica, your first question was, how do you prove you're a resort guest for early entry? If you are going to have one of these, I brought show and tell. If you're not looking at your screen, I'm showing a magic band here. If you have, oops, I threw it. If you have one of these, this would be an option. If you're not using a magic band, which is perfectly fine, you can ask for it's called the Keys to the Kingdom. It's plastic card, looks like the shape of a credit card. That's how we used to always get into the parks and into our rooms back in the day before they came out with magic bands. You can use the Keys to the Kingdom card. You can just use the My Disney Experience app on your phone. Or if you're an Apple Watch user, you can get My Disney Experience app loaded onto your Apple Watch and use any of those. When you get into Magic Kingdom, for instance, anybody can get into Magic Kingdom about an hour early, hour and 15 minutes early, somewhere in that neighborhood, even non-resort guests. And they can go on Main Street, get in line at Starbucks, take pictures in front of the castle. The shops are open. They walk through those. For resort guests that are there for a rope drop, you will be, as you walk down Main Street past the shops, you'll be directed to your right towards Tomorrowland. There's a walkway there, and there will be cast members with iPads. And they will ask you, like they did with us, how many people are in your party? And I said there were 8. And they just scanned my band, and they just counted us through, and we're good to go. So they use your account, either Magic Band, the card, Apple Watch. Jessica, I know you asked about Samsung Watch. I would have to go back and check on that. I just know people that have used Apple Watch in the past. So I'll make a note of that and find out for you. Let me do that now. And if anybody's on and knows, if you got a Samsung Watch and used it, by all means, chime in. So anyway, that's how they know that you're a resort guest, and you'll be allowed into Tomorrowland or Fantasyland for the early rope drop for resort guests. Very slick. They used to make each one of you badge in your party, and the line's really kind of backed up. So now they just ask you how many people are in your party. They'll scan you. They'll see that, yes, you're a resort guest, and away you go. Now, obviously for you, Jessica, you're going to say it's 3, boom, you're good to go. Walk right on in and you'll be fine. Magic Kingdom made a change in the last month or so, maybe the last 2 months now, where once you badge in like that, instead of being queued up in a walkway until 8:30 for them to drop the rope, they now let you go into Tomorrowland, into Fantasyland, and go ahead and get in line for a ride. So you can make more progress, I guess, if you will. And in some instances, we experienced this. Some of the rides started a little bit before 8:30. We got in line for Winnie the Pooh as our rope drop at Magic Kingdom, and I think we were actually on the ride, riding it by 8:30. So it's pretty slick, but that's how they will know that you're a resort guest, is through, again, your band, your card, Apple Watch. I'll check on Samsung Watch, or if you're using your phone and you've got the app pulled up. Any of those work. I will tell you, when we were there, Tyler and Kennedy had the cards. They did not have magic bands. They had no issues with it whatsoever. When we scanned in for lightning lanes, things like that, it was perfectly fine. So Jessica, Jungle Cruise, just keep note, it's not in Tomorrowland, it's not in Fantasyland. That part of the park does not open until 9 a.m. period, whether you're a resort guest or not. So just keep that in mind, that if you go rope drop into Tomorrowland or Fantasyland to do Winnie the Pooh or Dumbo or Buzz Lightyear or whatever, you'll be able to make your way over towards Frontierland and Adventureland, but you won't actually be able to get in and start riding the rides until 9 a.m., which means non-resort guests are walking in that section at the same time that you are. So it might be a little more crowded. Just keep that in mind. So anyway, okay. Jessica's next question, and guys, like always, if you have experience with any of these questions, you've got answers, things you want to share, by all means, please do. That's what I enjoy about this, is the interactive nature here. So Jessica asked about unique keepsake creations at Magic Kingdom and or at Disney Springs. And Tina, thanks for posting the Park Life podcast on there. I appreciate that very much. So unique keepsakes or creations at Magic Kingdom or at Disney Springs. I have a handful of things that I wrote down that were, for the most part, just off the top of my head. But again, you guys chime in with any of the things that you had purchased or experienced as far as keepsakes on your recent Disney trips. First one I thought of is the Magic Bands. It's obviously a keepsake, and you can use it over and over again for future trips. The refillable drink mugs, and I know, Jessica, you asked a question about this, and I'll circle back on that here in a little bit, but these are nice keepsakes, nice collectibles, great to use at home. The celebration buttons are obviously a great keepsake to have, whether it's celebrating a birthday or a wedding or anniversary, or celebrating anything that you wish to celebrate. Most of you guys know this, so I'm not sharing secrets, but I happily wore a badge that said I was celebrating being cancer-free after my second cancer surgery. I remember we had booked that trip and then found out that I had cancer and had to have surgery. And we weren't sure if we were going to be able to make the trip or not. But we went, and I was not at the same level of physical activity that I would normally be at a Disney trip. So we took things very slow. But I proudly wore that button, and they encourage you to celebrate anything and everything. So the buttons are great. I think both at Magic Kingdom and at Disney Springs, there's a shop where you can get the Pandora Charm jewelry that is unique and special. In Magic Kingdom, I think it's on Main Street, about halfway down. There's like a little inlet to the right. I think that's where it's at. You can have somebody do silhouette art. Very unique, very special, great keepsake to have with you. Yes, Helen, spray the button with a sealer when you get home. And I will tell you, because this happened, if you have the button on and it starts to rain, that marker might get smeared off. Lori's happy birthday button, her name was smeared off and had to have it redone. Customized ears, yes. And Lauren, you just mentioned one that was on my list. Christmas ornaments. There's a Christmas shop inside Magic Kingdom. There's a Christmas shop at Disney Springs. You can get customized Christmas ornaments. It's a great keepsake. I'll tell you, every trip we take, I bring back a Christmas ornament that goes on our tree, and it just, is, hey, Ronnie. It's just something that we love to be able to then enjoy during the Christmas season on the tree. Disney Springs, there's candles that you can have specially made for you. Also in the M&M store at Disney Springs, you can get printed M&Ms. You can have sayings put on them. I think you can actually have images put on them. Pretty unique experience there. Absolutely something that I've done in the past and really like to do that. Inside the parks, you can get the pressed pennies, which is a great keepsake. Somebody said this to me. I don't know if we were down there or on our way or how this came up, but what's going to happen to the pressed penny machines when the day comes that the United States currency no longer has pennies? And I thought, wow, that's an interesting thought. And it kind of made me think, gosh, maybe I should make sure I get all of the pressed pennies out of the machines while I can. So that's an option. There's also machines in the parks that you can do ID tags, kind of like the pressed pennies, but they're ID tags. So those are unique and special. Yes, Tina, they do have silver ones as well. You're correct. At the resorts, and Jessica, specifically For us in November, I looked at All Star Movies. They do arts and crafts at the resorts. Some of the arts and crafts are free. Some of them you do pay. I think they do like a tie dye shirt event one evening, and you probably pay 10 or 15 bucks for the shirt. But that's a unique experience. Obviously, if you're getting character autographs, whether it's in a signature book or if you're doing, I think we talked about this last week, the fabric squares to turn into a quilt, all of that is amazing keepsake stuff that you can have for forever and ever. And then I'll point right there. Popcorn buckets is another one. It's so weird to point in a random way with the stuff behind me. Popcorn buckets are a great keepsake that you can have. I will tell you, I will likely bring that guy back with me in November. That's a great thing about popcorn buckets at Disney World. Buy it once, you can keep bringing it back and get refills for like $2.25 or something, somewhere in that nature. I think it's 2.25. So great cost savings. So you're getting a keepsake, if I can point in the right place, and then you can make it valuable trip after trip after trip. JJ, you still have your Christmas making a display too. Yeah, I finally got him. I'm so weird. I finally got him and my Halloween one put where people could see it behind me. I have my little Donald Duck sipper right there. And then right below that, there's a couple of drink mugs. I also have a bunch of baseball stuff for my boys. Let's see here. Trying to catch up with some of the chat. Oh, hey, John. Yeah. I had to switch days. And I'm glad you just mentioned that. So if you're not a member of our Discord, I would encourage you to join Discord. I have a page on there for people to put in their questions. And that's how Blake and Jessica got their questions in. I also posted on that same page the schedule of our calls through the end of July. I know typically I do Wednesday nights. This week I have a conflict on Wednesday. Next week I have a conflict on Wednesday. And I think, don't hold me to this, but I think as we get to middle towards the end of July, I might move this to Tuesday night, period, ongoing, knowing that there'll always be conflicts, right? At some point in time, a holiday is going to fall on a Tuesday or something like that. But I do want to try to stay consistent with that. And then I'll forewarn at least my mods. I think I'm going to try to get the courage to do YouTube on my laptop like I'm doing here with you right now, but have my phone on my TikTok account and be streaming live through both channels. So I'm not there yet, but just kind of giving you a precursor to what I'm going to try to do here, I think. Yes, Jessica, only 22 weeks away. I think it's like 153, 154 days, somewhere in that neighborhood. I can't remember for sure. Yeah, I'm going to try, Tina, to do multi-live. We'll see what we can do here. But I want to try to, I like to think you guys join because this is enjoyable and we have a good time together, and maybe you learn a thing or two. And so if I can pull some of my TikTok audience in as well, I would certainly like to do that. My Thursday live in July is the day before you leave. Is that like the 10th, I think, Helen, if I'm going off memory here, but I think it was July 10th that I'm doing live that week. So anyway, okay. Jessica, let's go on then to your next question. Jessica's next question was safe places to hold out from the rain when you want to avoid being crammed in a store. Very timely because I think it's storming down at Disney World right now and has been for the last handful of hours. I can tell you when we were there, it's been a week and a half ago now. I guess what is today? Tuesday. We're flying home at this point in time last week. So on Friday, it rained a couple of different times while we were at the Magic Kingdom, not heavily, but more of a nuisance. On Saturday morning when we went to Hollywood Studios, it was pouring at our resort when we were trying to get in line to get on the bus. So we got a little wet there, but then it just rained lightly, but consistently for about 3 more hours while we were at the park. So great question to ask. Here's what I jotted down. And Jessica, I specifically have answers for Magic Kingdom and Epcot, thinking in my mind that those are probably the parks we're going to be at in November. So hopefully this helps. If you want me to provide answers to the other two parks, I can do that as well. But focus on Magic Kingdom first. First and foremost, again, I agree with you to try to avoid the shops simply because that's where everybody floods to. It's easiest access, and inevitably, 10 people stand right at the doggone entrance and you can't get in, you can't get out. So I do try to avoid the shops as well. At Magic Kingdom, try to hit up one of the shows. You've got the Laugh Floor in Tomorrowland, Mickey's Philhar Magic right behind the castle, Enchanted Tales with Belle over in Fantasyland. You've got the Country Bear Jamboree in Frontierland, and you've got the Tiki Room in Adventureland. So those are all great options and I think I said Philhar Magic. So yeah, those five great shows, enjoyable. You can get out of the rain for 15, 20 minutes. And a lot of times, gang, that's all it takes for rain at Disney. It's a quick shower or storm that blows through. It's in and out in a matter of minutes. And so watching some of those shows are a great way to avoid the rain and get out of harm's way through shows. Indoor rides that you can look at, or rides that are at least covered. In general, Haunted Mansion, once you get underneath the awning in part of that line, you're covered for a good 20 minutes. The ride is a decent length ride. So again, 20, 25, 30 minutes, you're covered. Pirates of the Caribbean is another one. A lot of that line queue is covered. And obviously the ride is inside as well. It's a Small World is another one that the line's usually not long. So you're typically in underneath cover. The ride itself is about a 20-minute ride. So you're getting out of rain well there. Carousel of Progress over in Tomorrowland is about a 20-minute show. So again, you're getting out of the rain for about 20 minutes and you're getting to sit in a nice comfortable chair. Lauren mentioned Under the People Mover track. I would also say just ride the People Mover. It's a nice, gentle ride. You're covered for the most part. And I say that because when we rode People Mover on last Friday at Magic Kingdom, we were about halfway through the ride, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, it's pouring down rain. And we were still really covered, kind of coming out of Space Mountain, that type of covered. And we turned, so then you're like exposed with just the cover right above you. And yeah, it was really pouring and the wind was really blowing. So we were getting wet from the rain coming in sideways, but not horrible. Little Mermaid ride is inside, another decent ride that you can get out of rain and covered. And I already mentioned Enchanted Tales with Belle. Great experience. If you've never done that, especially if you've got littles, it's a wonderful little show, interactive with Belle. They have audience interaction, which is great. And then hop on the train. As long as there's not lightning and it's not a deluge, they'll typically continue to run the train. You can stay out of the rain there. So a lot of great options there. Last, I'll mention a couple of quick serves that have a lot of indoor space. Pinocchio Village House in Fantasyland, back behind the castle, right next to It's a Small World. And then Cosmic Rays in Tomorrowland, has a ton of indoor seating, and it has a ton of outdoor seating that's covered as well. So you get a great option to sit out of the rain. We did that for part of the rain day when we were there last Friday. Carousel of Progress is comfy. Yeah, Lauren, I love Carousel of Progress as well. I mean, it's such a traditional experience. I mean, that was Walt's baby. Developed it for the 65 World's Fair. So pretty amazing. Cece, you'll have to do it. Okay, if we jump over to Epcot, and again, if anybody else has suggestions of places that are great, Philhar Magic, I love that show, Helen. It's amazing 3D show. At Epcot, the land building where you have Living with the Land and Soarin'. There's also a short film set up in one of the rooms there. You've got the Seasons dining area downstairs. Great place to get a couple of rides in, a show, get some snacks or food, and stay out of the rain for quite a while. Um, you can go ride the Finding Nemo ride, which then when you get off that ride, you're right in the aquarium. There's a ton to see and do there with the aquarium. You can do turtle talk with Crush, so great opportunity there to get out of the rain for a length of time. If you're around the World Showcase, the Mexico Pavilion, there's a lot of beautiful things inside there to look at. You can ride the Three Caballeros Grand Fiesta Tour ride as well in there. So it's a great opportunity to get out of the rain for quite a while. If you're over in the American Pavilion, you've got the American Adventure Show. It's about a 20-minute show. Inside, beautiful theater, very comfortable seating, nice and cool. That's a great option to get out of the rain. Depending upon when you're there and the time, you can also catch the Voices of Liberty sing in the atrium area before you go into the show. Another great option. Let's see here. You can ride Spaceship Earth. Part of the line is underneath the giant golf ball anyway, so you're protected. And then the ride itself is a 15-20 minute ride all the way through. And then when you get out, there's an indoor area there that you can kind of hang out in depending on how hard the rain is. So that's an option. I haven't done this in a long time, but in Canada, they've got the Circle 360 film on Canada that you can go in and watch that. And likewise in China, they've got their Reflection of China show that you can go in and watch that as well. So there's a lot of opportunity in Epcot to get inside and take refuge from the rain. I would say from my perspective, Magic Kingdom is easier to manage the rain simply because there's more opportunity to walk in covered areas, walk through the shops, through some of the buildings. When you get to Epcot, especially World Showcase, you're either going to stay put in one of the pavilions, or if you're going to walk to the next one, you're going to get soaked. But definitely places to stay dry. We had ponchos that we packed and brought with us. My mom and dad wore them religiously every time it rained. Nobody else wore them. The rest of us, we had small travel size umbrellas. I always like to, if I use my ruler, probably a 12-inch long small travel sized umbrella that just pulled out of my backpack and popped it open and away we were. So either one of those are great. Yeah, Launch Bay, absolutely. CC over in Hollywood Studios is a great spot. But yeah, if you're going to do rain ponchos, go to the Dollar Tree or whatever your dollar store is in your town and buy them there. You can usually get them for $1 or maybe $1.50 a piece. If you wait and go to Magic Kingdom and buy one there, you're going to pay $15-20 for a rain poncho. So save yourself the money. I know I've shared this before. Make sure you bring the gallon-sized Ziploc bags with you. That way, when you take the rain poncho off, you can stick it in that bag and zip it shut, and it keeps everything else in your Loungefly or backpack or cinch bag, whatever you have over your shoulder, keeps everything else dry. If you're a tennis shoe person like I am, I had a Ziploc bag with a clean shirt in case I got soaked or super hot and got sweaty. I also had a pair of dry, clean socks to switch out if I needed to. Yeah, JJ, you can do that with flip-flops, absolutely. I'm not a flip-flop person, though, but that's certainly an option. I know a lot of people like to do that, or they wear Crocs, things like that work as well. Yep, go to the dollar store. Exactly. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, whatever your dollar store is, that's a great place to do it. Lamons, I am totally with you that the ponchos do make you hot. And then once you get onto a ride, you got to take the doggone thing off and fumble with it and whatever. The umbrellas were just easier for us. Now, if it's going to be an all day soaking kind of rain, then maybe the rain poncho might be the better way to go. But for us, for most of us, it was the umbrellas. All right, Jessica's next question. Yeah, Ronnie, they do serve a purpose. It just, for us, like I said, the Magic Kingdom day was a couple of different times where it rained lightly, not a big deal. And Hollywood Studios, it poured while we were in line for our bus. Once we got on the bus, we were fine. By the time we got off the bus at Hollywood, the rain had let up quite a bit. It was just a real gentle, light rain. at some points it was just sprinkling, so it wasn't that bad for us. So anyway, okay, Jessica's next question: can refillable mugs, ding 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 ding, be added to the booking? And so I think part of her question, kindly enough, was, hey, if we can add this to the booking, does that help the travel agent out with commission? I like where your head is, Jessica. But no, you cannot add these to the booking, and they wouldn't give us commission even if you could. So you do have to buy these when you get to the resort. They are currently $22.99 plus tax. Okay, so call it $23. And you might say, holy moly, $23. And I can't argue with you. However, buy this at your resort when you get there for 23 bucks. If you don't, and you buy a soda in a cup that's about this size, that soda is $4.79. I did the math already. Once you've bought your fifth drink, you've paid for this. So like for us, when we first got there, checked in, as soon as we were done checking in, well, we took our luggage, but then we went down and had dinner because we got there about 4:30 in the afternoon. I probably drank 3 or 4 of these that first day while we were there. Probably had 2 while we were sitting there eating, and then I filled this back up to take it back to the room for the night. So it was a no-brainer. I probably filled this thing up in our 6 days there. I probably had 15 or 20 drinks across all of the days. So to me, this is a great investment. It's cheaper in my mind than paying $4.80 for a drink every time I need a drink. And I have a souvenir. And at times we use these at home as well. They are chip enabled. There's a chip that sits down on the bottom of this. And so once you purchase it, it's good for 14 days at any of the resorts. So we check into All-Star Movies. I buy my new mug. It's coded for the purchase date, and it's good for 14 days. I can fill it up at All-Star Movies. If I happen to be over at Coronado Springs or at Pop Century or wherever, I can go into their food court and fill it up. You set it down on the thing, and there's a chip reader in that. And it might take a few seconds, and then you can push the button and the soda will come out. I cannot tell you how many people I watched hold the cup, not on the sensor, hold it, and push that button, and nothing was coming out. And they were getting frustrated. And so it's like, yeah, you got to set it down and then let it read the chip, and then boom, you're good to go. So that's the story on that. Yeah, Jessica, I mean, it's not $7, but you're exactly right. You can easily spend a lot more than 23 bucks. That's for sure. Okay. Let's see. Let me catch up on chat real quick. Pullover shoe covers for sneakers. Wow. That's interesting. Ooh, Eric, is DVC worth the discounts if I want to stay at a Disney hotel for a night whenever I want as a local? So, are you asking about renting DVC points? Are you asking about becoming a DVC member? Those are two very, very different things. If you're talking about buying into DVC, understand that that is an investment. I will have to do the math again, and maybe for next week's live, I can do that. But I've done it before. It was like, gosh, I wish I had my numbers, Eric. It's tens of thousands of dollars. Now, you typically do like a 10-year loan, if you will, and make monthly payments. But once the 10 years are up, you're done paying on the membership. You still have annual dues that are around $1,000, give or take. But you're in for the long haul when you become a member. Now, here's the thing that to me makes it, I'll say, complicated. If you're like me, I stay at Pop Century, I stay at All Stars. I'm a value resort person because I'm at the park all day long. I don't need to spend money on a moderate or deluxe resort. If you become a DVC member, it's at deluxe resorts. So the cost to stay at a deluxe resort as a DVC member with what you pay monthly in annual dues is far less expensive than if you were to just book a stay at Wilderness Lodge or at the Riviera or wherever. It's undoubtedly less expensive to become a member and do that. However, becoming a member and doing that is far more expensive than what I pay to stay at Pop Century or at All Star Sports or wherever. So you got to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, comparing the values to DVC deluxe resorts. There's no comparison. Value resorts will always be less expensive. But if you are a deluxe resort kind of person and that's where you stay, DVC membership is something you certainly want to look into. No doubt about it. Yeah, about 450 a month. That sounds about right, Jessica. And then for 10 years. But I'm going to make a note right now, and I'm going to do some DVC math for next week, Eric. But it's a good question. Yeah, Tina mentioned renting DVC points. Now that's another option. There's a couple of rental companies where you can rent DVC points. Dave's DVC, I think, is one of them. I can't think of the other one off the top of my head. There's advantages to that, but there's also risk involved as well. So you really want to make sure that you research that before you dive in that path. But that is an option for sure. Okay. Jessica's next question. Can you tell us more about grocery delivery? So having groceries delivered to your resort, which is a super popular thing now. It's probably grown significantly, probably since post-COVID. I'm guessing here, but before COVID, it probably happened some, but not as much. We had COVID and stores were shut down, and once stores opened back up, or grocery stores are always open, but people were unsure about going out in public like that. And so more and more people were doing grocery orders through COVID. I think a lot of that just carried over and became more of a normal thing to happen at Disney. I've never done it personally, but I think it's a great option. One of the reasons why I've never done it is because in the past when I needed something, I knew somebody down there locally that was willing to grab it and meet us at our resort. But nonetheless, there are a handful of different national companies that are set up to be able to do grocery delivery to a Disney resort. Walmart is one of them. Instacart is another one. Amazon Prime is another one. Garden Grocer, and then a couple locals, Dizzy Dolphin, Vacation Grocery. And I know there's also some personal shoppers that live around Disney that will do that for you. You'd have to reach out to them directly and figure out how they take your order and what have you. But all of those are options that you can do. Let's just use Walmart. It's simple. I probably guess most people have shopped at Walmart before, and whether you've online shopped or not, certainly an option there. You'll schedule the delivery. So if you're going to arrive on November 12th, for instance, I don't think Disney wants to hold your groceries for a couple days before you get there. So you want to make sure that the delivery is scheduled for the 12th. The delivery person will deliver to the resort, and it will go to Bell Services. Bell Services will make sure that anything that needs to be refrigerated or put in a freezer is done so to ensure that your groceries stay fresh. And then you have two options at that point. You can either go to Bell Services and pick your stuff up, or you can have Bell Services take your groceries to your room. You have to be in the room. They won't deliver it if you're not there. I think there's a small charge if they deliver. It's like $6, somewhere in that neighborhood. All I would ask is that you please tip them. $6 is nothing for them to deliver your groceries up to you. I mean, think about what you could have: a couple of cases of water, or a case of soda, or Gatorade, or whatever. So it's a decent amount lugging up. So I would always encourage to tip. And then, like I said, it's about a $6 fee for them to deliver it, or you can just pick it up yourself if you'd like. Now, JJ, getting groceries delivered was helpful. And if you're flying home, you can pixie dust someone with what you can't bring. Absolutely, JJ. I see that all the time on different Facebook pages that somebody will post a picture that says outside of room 1234 at All Star Sports is XYZ that we didn't eat, didn't have, and we're heading home. So it's free for you to take. Okay, so anyway, let me keep going here. I do want to note, especially with the value resorts, they do not have a traditional refrigerator in the room. They have what's called a cooler in the room. It's the size of kind of like that college dorm refrigerator, but it is a cooler and not a refrigerator. I say that because depending on what you're wanting to keep cold, that cooler itself might not do the trick, but there's ways to get around that. They have ice machines on every floor in the resorts. Bring your extra gallon size Ziploc bags, and go fill one or two of them up with ice. Put that into that cooler. It will make that cooler refrigerator temperature, and your milk or whatever it is that you need to keep cold will be just fine. But keep that in mind. Some different ideas of things that you might want to get shipped to your resort. Bottled water would be one. Pop Tarts or granola bars if you're wanting a morning kind of quick breakfast before you hit the parks. If you're like us, we were rope dropping and the resort food court was opening by the time we wanted to get on the bus. So having Pop Tarts or granola bars or things like that are certainly handy. Uncrustables. If you're a sandwich eating kind of person and you don't want to actually go through the process of making sandwiches, you can get Uncrustables. Or if you want to make your sandwiches, you can get bread, peanut butter, jelly, things like that. String cheese is another great snack item to have. Crackers or chips, beef jerky, fruit snacks. All of those things are great items. I didn't write this down, but I'm thinking of it in my head. Disney allows you to bring food into the parks. So if you wanted to make sandwiches and bring them into the parks so that you can have a less expensive meal inside the parks, you can absolutely do that. You can bring all the Pop Tarts, um, uh, fruit snacks, granola bars, any of that stuff into the park you want. So you can plan that accordingly with your food delivery if you want to. Granola bars, great. Pop Tarts, yeah, absolutely, Ronnie. Um, they have toasters in the food court, so you can always, if you're a warm up your Pop Tart kind of person, you can go down and do that real quick, not a problem. Yep, Tina, that's the Facebook page I was thinking of, the Disney tips and tricks page. Now, I will tell you, I don't watch that page for the tips and tricks. I watch that page for some of the insane things that people post on there that make me just roll my eyes. Yep, salad is a great thing too. Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. JJ, I didn't think of that. Yeah, Tina, some of the things that people post on there I just roll my eyes. It's just insane. So anyway, food delivery, very simple. The Disney resorts handle that stuff all the time. People do that more and more and more. Um, so if that's something that you're interested in doing, if you're, Amazon Prime, for instance, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can utilize them for your grocery delivery. Walmart are options. If you know somebody that's local that would be willing to do some shopping for you, you could do that as well. Um, I I know that a couple trips ago, um, I had contacted a private Uber driver that we kind of knew, and I knew he was down there doing that, and he was willing to go ahead and pick up a case of water, had it in the back of his vehicle when he picked us up from the airport. So it was pretty cool as well. DoorDash, Uber Eats, yes. That's right, Tina. It's Uber Steve. I will say this though, while the delivery people come to the resorts, Disney makes it a policy that those delivery people do not come to your resort room to deliver, whether it's pizza, uh, McDonald's, your case of water, whatever it is. They do not deliver to your room, so you will have to go pick up from Bell Services. Helen, are you still with us? Because Helen's question is next. I probably should have started with Helen, so hopefully she's still here. Calling Helen. All Helens, please raise your hand if you're here. And Jessica, are you good with all the questions you asked and I answered? You think Helen fell asleep? Okay. Well, I will read her question and provide feedback, and she can always listen to a replay later on. But Jessica, let me know if you're good with answers and the questions that you provided. Helen asked whether an online Disney gift card could be added to your Disney Parks application, so your My Disney Experience app. The simple answer to that question is no. Gift cards, whether they're virtual, online, or physical cards, cannot be added as a payment method on My Disney Experience. I went out to the app today to review and confirm that. You have an option to add your debit or credit card or your Disney Reward Redemption Card. And if you're like, what the heck is a Disney Reward Redemption Card and how do I get one of those? Well, let me tell you. It all starts with, see, I can show you this because they don't put the numbers on the front of the card anymore. It all starts with having a Visa Chase credit card, like I have. And when I use this, I get rewards. I think it's 1% or 2%, whatever it is, on purchases. And then after I've racked up enough points, I then have them transfer it over to my, where am I at here? My Visa Rewards Redemption Card. It acts kind of like a debit card, basically. So it has a balance on there based on me transferring the points over. And I can use this at the stores or at the restaurants inside Walt Disney World. So again, credit card, debit card, or the redemption card are the only modes of payment, forms of payment you can store on the My Disney Experience app for any kind of payments. The gift cards can be utilized, but you have to have it with you, or at least have the access to the gift card number to be able to provide that for payments. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate that. Although I would just as soon she watch all, hour and a half or whatever we are on tonight for. But I appreciate that. That's the nice thing to do. Okay. So Eric, I will research on DVC math, and we'll do that next week. We'll talk through the numbers. I'll probably do a couple of different ones. Luan's, yeah, the redemption card is great. Absolutely. I'll just go there since we're mentioned it. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but people have always asked, or if you ever look at social media anywhere, you see people talking about how they go buy the gift cards in bulk, like at Sam's Club, where maybe you get 5% off, or if you have a Target Red card, you get 5% off the cost of the Disney gift card. And so if you do the math, if you buy a $1,000 Disney gift card, 5% off is, I got to do the math in my head. So 10% would be $100. So 5% would be $50. So I'm going to get $50 off. Okay. If you do not have the Visa Disney Chase credit card, you can apply for it. And once you're approved and you get it, they typically have promotions. At a minimum, they'll give you usually like $200 credit once you've spent your first $500, $1,000, whatever it is. Okay. So $1,000, and they're going to give me $200 back versus the gift card at Target or Sam's, where I'm buying a $1,000 gift card and I'm getting $50 back. So the credit card option is a better option just from that simple math. The credit card also gives you 6 months interest free on Disney purchases. So, booking your Disney trip, you get 6 months discount or 6 months interest free. You also get discounts at most of the food locations and merchandise purchases when you utilize your credit card or the redemption card. I think I bought Briggs a couple of shirts one of the nights, and I used the redemption card, and I got 10% off. So from solely a math perspective, going the route of the Visa Chase card, and look, I don't work for them. I don't get anything from them for this, but from a simple math perspective, you get more bang for your buck that way than you do the discounted gift cards. Now, the other thing I would say about the gift cards, and this happened before COVID, just before COVID, people that had trips planned after COVID happened, like later in 2020, they bought thousands of dollars of Disney gift cards. And then their trip got basically postponed because the park closed. And then because of COVID, a family member lost their job. They had thousands of dollars in Disney gift cards that they can't get the money back. You don't return those and get your money back. And so they were essentially holding thousands of dollars of Disney gift cards that they weren't going to be able to use because they couldn't afford to take the trip because the family member lost their job. So I'm not suggesting you do one way or the another. There are pros and cons to both. I just like to make sure I raise those scenarios to you so that you can make the best choice for you and your family. Yeah, Jessica, I would not say don't buy the cards, but just keep those things in mind. Different options. Oh, you're talking about the DVC points thing. Okay, that's helpful. Yeah, I mean, once you get into how many points you want to buy and how many nights stay does those points equate to? So I want to do all of that math to figure out what that looks like. So anyway, okay. I haven't talked about our trip much. I mentioned it a little bit here and there. And I could go on and on and on about how amazing it was and all the different things and this, that, and the other. If you were with me at all before we went, I'd say our biggest concerns were how is Briggs going to do on the airplane? How is Briggs going to do on rides? And how is Briggs going to do with characters? And so in my head, I'm thinking if he doesn't like the rides and he's scared to death of characters, this is going to be a long 4 days in the parks. Okay, Lauren, have a good dinner. Thanks for joining. Great to see you tonight. Hopefully you can join again next week. Okay, Ronnie, so I'll share some. I don't want to kill you guys. But so we were, I was a little, hesitant of how's that going to go. Tyler and Kennedy and Briggs spent the night at our house the night before. And I would venture to guess that Briggs probably didn't get to bed until 10 or 11 o'clock that night. Probably fell asleep around between 10 and 11. We left our house at 4:15 in the morning. So they woke him up about 4 o'clock to get him into the car seat so we could head to the airport. So little guy only got 5, maybe 6 hours of sleep. He fell back to sleep on the drive to the airport, so probably got another 15, 20-minute nap. Then was awake and good as could be at the airport, sat in Kennedy's lap. I think he was still kind of groggy, but sat there, got on the plane. He did not fall asleep for the first flight. They were sitting probably a handful of rows ahead of where Tanner and I were sitting. Never heard a peep out of him. No hollering, no crying, no nothing. We get off the plane and they're like, he did great. He watched movies, looked out the window, just did spectacularly on the flight. Super duper. So we're in Houston. We get some lunch. They go find an empty gate that nobody's there and let him run around and kind of wear himself out. Got on the flight, and from Houston to Orlando, he slept the whole way, which was perfect. So that's the flight. On the way home, sorry about my laptop. We had flights home from Orlando to Chicago, Chicago to Omaha. He slept on both flights, so he did great there. Ran around again in an empty gate in Chicago to wear himself out, but flights were perfect. No issues. He wasn't tugging at his ears. Didn't cry. Nothing. Didn't have to suck on a pacifier or a bottle or anything to help relieve any pressure in his ears. So he just did amazing. It was so awesome. That was a huge relief. So we get to our resort, we get checked in, take our luggage, unload it. We go back down and have dinner. They get their swimsuits on, hop in the pool. He swims for maybe 15, 20 minutes, had a blast, enjoyed that. Then we kind of settled down for the night. Next morning was Magic Kingdom Day. I'm a diehard rope dropper. Always will be, always have been. So we basically said, all right, this is what time we're leaving to head to the bus. So if you're up and ready to go, great. If not, no worries. We'll meet you at the park. Every day, everybody was ready to go. It was great. Briggs was a trooper. So we get on the bus and, he's already excited about this bus ride and what's going on. And then, get him in the stroller and walk into the Magic Kingdom. And, he's not quite 2 years old. I don't think we got the, wow face on him by seeing the castle. Might be because there's people all over Main Street and maybe he didn't see it. But we went to go rope drop Winnie the Pooh. Thought that was a safe ride to start him with. It's not too up and down or too aggressive, whatever. He loved the ride, except for there's the part where it's kind of storming and raining. It's a little bit darker in there. He got a little antsy for that part, but otherwise loved it. We get off the ride, and you walk through the little Winnie the Pooh shop, if you will, and we get out to the walkway, and Tigger is walking by us. And Tigger had stopped. He's probably 10 feet from us because there were a couple little kids there. Boom. Briggs took off, beeline to Tigger. He was excited. He was hollering, waving, ran right up to Tigger. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best trip ever. He loved the ride. He loved seeing the character, went running up to him. It was great. We then went and rode the Dumbo ride, and I'm like, you guys don't have to go all the way up if you don't want to, but they went all the way up and down, and Briggs just like looking all over, had a great time. He loved every ride that they had him do. There were some rides that they didn't do. They did not do Haunted Mansion with him. But we did Pirates of the Caribbean, and he seemed to enjoy that. He loved Jungle Cruise, loved Buzz Lightyear, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go day by day for everything, but I got to tell you, second day, Hollywood Studios, they have the Summer of Kids party going on at Walt Disney World right now through like September 20th or something like that. They had a indoor dance party at Hollywood Studios over by Launch Bay. Cecilia mentioned that earlier. First off, there was some character meet and greets. He got to meet Max. He got to meet Daisy Duck. We take him into the dance party, and there's a DJ up on stage playing different songs or whatever. And there's kids. There's probably 40, 50 kids in there. Maybe not that many, maybe 30. And parents. And there was Pluto was in there dancing with kids. Fancy Nancy was in there. Doc McStuffins was in there. Timon was in there. And I was holding Briggs, and we walked over by Pluto and put him down, and he just went to town dancing, had a blast. Mickey Mouse came out, and he went run over to Mickey Mouse, and he held Mickey Mouse's hand, and they went walking around and danced. We were in there at least 45 minutes. That little guy danced with every character he could find. It was the best ever. I'm going to tell you one quick emotional thing, and then I want to get to what I have written on my piece of paper here. So, again, I think I shared this with all of you guys. There were 4 generations that were there. My parents went. Lori and I were there. Tyler, Kennedy, and Briggs, and little Briggs, and then Tanner was there as well. My parents had told us back in 2020 after we went in October that year that was probably the last time they were ever going to go. So to have them come this time was incredibly special for me because I didn't think it was ever going to happen. So I was already emotional from that standpoint. After the trip's over and we come home, the next day I send my parents a note. I sent them an email just thanking them for coming along and participating and being involved with the experience and this, that, and the other. And my mom replied back and she said 3 things. So this is the next day. We flew home Tuesday night. It was Wednesday morning. So we hadn't even been home 12 hours yet. First thing she said, I miss Briggs already. Second thing she said, watching Briggs's face during the parade is going to be something I'll never forget. And she said, I got to watch the Lion King show one last time. That was pretty special for me to see that from my mom. My dad's email went through a bunch of different things. Half of our day at Hollywood Studios, Tanner said, hey, Grandpa, do you want to go off and ride some rides? So my dad and Tanner went off and rode rides together, Tower of Terror, Haunted Man, or Rock and Roller Coaster. I think my dad was over the moon with the fact that his grandson, who's a freshman, soon to be sophomore in college, wanted to go off with Grandpa and ride rides. So loved that. My dad getting to see Briggs enjoy the parade and then the fireworks. Gosh, guys. So the first night was Happily Ever After. The second night was Fantasmic. Third night was Luminous. And then the fourth night was Animal Kingdom No Nighttime Show. For Happily Ever After, fireworks started. Briggs did not have his noise-canceling headphones on for the first few minutes and then kind of gave the impression he needed them, so they put them on, and he watched with the headphones on. Couldn't hear probably anything, but he watched and seemed to enjoy it. At Fantasmic, again, we started the fireworks show, the show there. He was like standing on Kennedy's lap, watching, just totally engaged. And after a few minutes, he needed to put the headphones on. And then about 10 minutes later, I look over and he's sound asleep in her arms. The third night at Epcot for Luminous, they started him with the headphones on when the show first started. Within the first 4 or 5 minutes, he took the headphones off. He was perfectly fine, totally engaged, loved the fireworks, was clapping and smiling, and it was just spectacular. If you guys would have asked me to write a script before we went on how I wanted the trip to go, I would have fallen short on how the trip went. I got to steal something. I think I'm going to do a podcast on this, a recorded one, but I'm going to just share this with you guys. We were at Magic Kingdom that first day, and the thought of what is a perfect day at Magic Kingdom, what does it look like, struck my head. You know, does that mean you got to see the parade? Does it mean you saw the fireworks? Does it mean you saw all of the shows? Does it mean you rode rides? Did you ride all of the rides? Does it mean that you bought merchandise? Does it mean that you got to eat your favorite foods? You know, what is the perfect day? And it's different for everybody. So what I'm about to say, you know, maybe doesn't apply to everybody, but this is where I came out as I thought about that walking through the park that day. And I'm going to read it so I don't screw this up. A perfect day is a mindset. Expectations can ruin the day. The perfect day is appreciating what you have, what you do, what you see, what you hear, and what you taste. A perfect day is opening your heart and mind to enjoy what you get to do through that time. My perfect day, which it was perfect, did not include some of the things that I love to do there. I did not get to ride Tiana's. I did not see Country Bear Jamboree. I did not do PhilharMagic. We did not see Carousel of Progress. I did not get to do Laugh Floor. I didn't see the cavalcades or the stage show. Some people would be like, oh my God, you missed all those things? Must have been just an okay day, right? It was a perfect day because I had no expectations. And I opened my heart and my mind and just appreciated the things that were in front of me. So it was amazing. Yeah, JJ, your perfect day is sticking your head, Little Mermaid ears on my head. I know. Yeah, Cece, and man, that's a perfect thing. So I will say, I told you that Briggs went running right up to Tigger, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. We went to three character meet and greets at Magic Kingdom that day. The first one we did, we thought, let's ease into this by doing face characters. So we saw Tiana and we saw Rapunzel. And he was a little shy, a little standoffish. He did go up to the character and do fist bumps and a little high five type of thing with Tiana. She was just darling, wonderful with him, signed his book. He wouldn't stand with her by himself for a picture, so Kennedy held him and they got a photo. Went over to Rapunzel. Rapunzel got down on her knees, engaged with him, talked with him. You could just feel he was getting a little more comfortable with her. He got a little closer to her. The PhotoPass photographer got some pictures with him right by her. But he didn't fully engage. And again, wouldn't stand there with her for a photo, so Kennedy had to hold him, but let her sign his book, what have you. They went and saw Mickey Mouse. And again, same thing. He was a little shy, a little cautious, let Kennedy hold him while they stood there for photos. Then we had Hollywood Studios, and he did the dance thing. And I was like, oh my God, this kid's he's killing it. He was holding hands with the characters and dancing and whatever. I've got videos that I think I watch them every single day, and my heart smiles and I feel a tear in my eye watching it. When we went to Epcot, one of his favorite characters is Moana. We've watched that movie a dozen times at least. They take him to see Moana. I did not go into the line with him. I stood over by the cast member that's at the exit there and just chatting with her. And he walked right up to Moana, didn't hug her, but stood right there, and she talked to him and what have you. And they handed her the autograph book, and she signed the book and handed it back to Briggs. Briggs proceeded to take the book and the pen, and he plopped right down on his butt right next to her, and he was opening that book up because he wanted to sign it next. It was so cute, just so cute. At Animal Kingdom, they wanted to ride Dinosaur, and Briggs is too small to ride Dinosaur. So Lori and I stayed back with Briggs, and everybody else went to ride Dinosaur. And Briggs was pretty doggone tired. He was in the stroller. He was kind of half awake, half asleep. But we were walking in an area, hoping to get him to fall asleep, where the characters that were coming out to do meet and greets were walking out. And so Chip and Dale came walking out and walked right by him, and he kind of perked up. And I asked him, I said, do you want to go see Chip and Dale? And he's like, uh-huh. So we started to head to where Chip and Dale was, but to get to them, the pathway, you walk by Daisy Duck first. And I'm like, hey, do you want to see Daisy? Uh-huh. So we got in line for Daisy. We got up to her, and where she's set up, there's a plastic ceramic dinosaur there. And Briggs started walking towards her and then pointed at the dinosaur. So Daisy walked over and pet the dinosaur, and Briggs walked over and pet the dinosaur. And then she held his hand and walked back, and just was amazing. He gave her a hug. I think it was the first character that he hugged. I was just like blown away. We finished with her, and we walk up to where Chip and Dale are supposed to be, and they're not there, and there's nobody there. And so I'm like, well, let's wait a couple minutes. And so they were like on a walkway that loops back around. So we'd walked up the way you're supposed to. Well, people walked the other way. And Chip and Dale came with the cast member and the photographer, and they told these people, hey, the line forms back here. So Briggs was first in line. He went over, hugged Chip, hugged Dale. He stood in between them for a picture. It was just incredible that, I mean, like, this little guy was warmed up to the characters. And if any of you have ever heard me talk, he was deathly afraid of the Easter Bunny in March. He was deathly afraid of Santa in December. And so to see this was phenomenal. And again, he was like almost out of it before we went to go see Daisy. He was half asleep, but he perked up. But I could tell he was still tired after Chip and Dale's. But I asked him, I said, do you want to go see Donald? Mm-hmm. So I was holding him at that time, and we got in line for Donald. And we were probably 10, 15 people back. And I was worried that they were going to tell us, okay, Donald's going to go take a break and he'll be back. But Briggs stood there in line for a bit. He played with the chain and the walkways, which he wasn't hurting anybody and wasn't getting crazy with it. So I let him go. And then we'd move up a little bit. And the people standing right in front of us, the lady had, I'll say Mickey ears, but it was the Slinky dog. And Briggs thought that was just hilarious. And he kept looking at that, pointing and whatever. Well, it got to be, we were next. That couple went up to see Donald, and we were next. So I'm like, Briggs, come up here. We're next. And he walked up to where the line was, and that I told him we had to stand there. And he just plopped down and sat there. So Donald finished with them, looked over and saw Briggs sitting there on the ground, and walked over, extended his hand. Briggs stood up, held Donald's hand, walked over, hugged Donald. It was just the best thing ever for me. I mean, I love the dinosaur ride, but I would skip that a million times over to enjoy what I got to do with Briggs. So it was pretty cool. Okay. I'm going to go to what I have on my piece of paper here, because otherwise I keep talking about the trip. Everybody had a great time. Tyler and Kennedy had a great time. Obviously, Briggs had a wonderful time. Tanner got to ride all the rides he wanted to. He was such a trooper at times. He would take Briggs and push him in the stroller or hold him or whatever. He was just the best uncle. Knew that part of the trip was for Briggs, but also got opportunities to ride everything that he wanted to ride. I think he rode Everest 3 or 4 times. He rode Tower of Terror a couple times, Rock and Roller Coaster a couple times. We did Guardians of the Galaxy. We did Tron. Well, I say we. I bought 4 Lightning Lanes for Tron, knowing that Tanner, Tyler, and Kennedy would absolutely want to ride. The 4th one, I said, Dad, I've ridden Tron. I'll get to ride Tron again. Do you want to ride it? And he said yes. So I did not ride Tron. My dad rode with the kids. They had a great time. I did the same thing for Guardians of the Galaxy. I bought 4. That one, again, Tyler, Tanner, Kennedy offered it to my dad. And my dad's like, you know what? I'm good. You go ride it. So we rode. Okay. Good night, Ruby. Good night, Jessica. See you, Steve. So the 4 of us rode Guardians. First time ever for Tyler, first time ever for Kennedy. And wouldn't you know it, we got September for our song. That's a big deal for some people. For me, whatever. I just enjoy the ride. The song is secondary for me, but it was pretty cool. You got your one done, Tron. JJ. Okay, so here's what I want to finish with tonight. I did buy the Lightning Lane multi pass for Magic Kingdom, for Hollywood Studios, and for Epcot. I did not do it for Animal Kingdom, but like I said, I also bought the single pass for Tron and for Guardians. Thank you, Lamont. I appreciate that. There's always a debate of whether or not the Lightning Lane multi pass is worth it or not. Okay, and I think for Magic Kingdom it was $29 per person. Hollywood it might have been 27, and then for Epcot it was like 20 or 18 or 19 or something like that. It was less expensive. And again, I had this like in-park epiphany of whether it's worth it or not. And my thing is this: if your intent is to try to ride almost every ride that you can without the Lightning Lane, you're going to spend 2 days in the park at least. Okay, but let's just say 2 days. A lot of people think the multi-pass is expensive. And look, at $30, I'll just make an even number. $30, there were 7 of us. It was $210 for a Magic Kingdom for multi-pass. So yeah, that's a lot of money. But the alternative is having to buy a second park day pass to Magic Kingdom to be able to ride all of the rides. And so right then and there, it's like, well, $30 per person or another 140, 150, whatever it is for a second day park ticket makes the multi-pass more affordable. The other thing is a lot of people get caught up in that, well, the best rides weren't available, so it wasn't worth it. And if your mindset is, I want to make sure I get Tiana's and Jungle Cruise and Peter Pan and Haunted Mansion and whatever else, and that's what your mindset is, and you don't get them, then you'll be disappointed. This is that whole perfect day thing. My mind is, if I got a Lightning Lane for Small World, which we did, Small World line is probably a 10-minute wait. But I saved 10 minutes. Each 10 minutes I saved up on those rides could be applied to the rides I couldn't get Lightning Lanes for that I've now saved the time. So at Magic Kingdom, our Magic Kingdom day, I got 8 Lightning Lane multi-passes for all 7 of us throughout the day. We got the 1 single pass for Tron, and then we rode 7 different standby rides. So more than half of my Magic Kingdom day, I got multi-pass for. I think that's a pretty good investment. At Hollywood Studios, there's fewer attractions, fewer rides. I got 7 multi-pass ride times, and then we did 8 standbys. Now, of the 8 standbys, we got Tower of Terror through Lightning Lane, and then we did standby for Tower of Terror. Same thing on Rock and Roller Coaster. We got Lightning Lane, and then we did standby. So really more than half of our Hollywood Studios day, we got multi-pass for. At Epcot, we got 7 multi-pass rides, plus the single pass for Guardians, and then we have 3 standbys. So I think for us, it was well worth the investment, especially when you got a 20-month-old who's standing in line isn't necessarily the most fun thing in the world to do. We got probably the most out of it. I went into it thinking if I could get 3 or 4 rides, that's probably what I should plan for. To get 8 and 7 and 7, I think we, walked it out of the park basically. So for us, it was a great investment, made it well worth it, allowed us to shave time on waiting in line for things so that we can enjoy other things. And again, we didn't ride everything. I didn't get to do everything that I love to do, but that was okay. We got to do the things that we knew we really wanted, whether that was the parade, the fireworks, eating at certain restaurants, any of that stuff. I will tell you, it was, I've been to Disney dozens of times, and I've taken my family dozens of times. The added factor of really, it was 3 reservations: Lori and I and Tanner, Tyler, Kennedy and Briggs, and then my mom and dad. So doing it from that standpoint was a little more involved. I don't want to say stressful, involved. Ensuring that my 75-year-old and 74-year-old parents were enjoying themselves making sure that my 19-year-old college student was enjoying himself, making sure that my 20-month-old grandson was enjoying himself. It was a lot to juggle, but super duper manageable. Packing, though, was probably the most, I'll say, stressful, because I wanted to ensure that we had everything that we could possibly need. And once you factor in a 20-month-old, it added so much more. I mean, obviously diapers and wet wipes they had to have, and then we had to have swim diapers, and then we got disposable changing pads for changing tables in the restrooms, so that when they went to change his diaper, he wasn't laying on the plastic or whatever those tables are made out of. We bought a silicone placemat to put down at the dining locations, so that when food was sitting on the table and he was eating it, we knew that it was sitting on something clean. We got glow sticks and fruit snacks and all sorts of things that wouldn't normally get packed for a 20-month-old. So planning. I had spreadsheets of all of the different things that we could possibly need to pack, to make sure that we had everything that we needed. And I can promise you that there was probably 30% of the stuff we packed that we probably didn't need. But my mindset has always been, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. JJ, you were absolutely right. When you slow down and enjoy the moment, the best experiences happen. And Tina, your comment, yes, the scooter helped my mom a ton. We rented through Scooterbug. There are other rental companies, and I'm not talking bad about any of them. I liked Scooterbug for two reasons. One, they were price competitive with anybody else. And the biggest one, they are the only company that they will drop the scooter off at your resort without you being there to receive it from them. They will pick it up from your resort without you being there waiting for them to pick it up. Any of the other rental companies, you have to be there, be present. Scooterbug is the only one that Disney recognizes as their scooter company of preference, if you will. And so that was sold for us. The scooter was waiting for us when we checked in at All Star Movies. As a matter of fact, when we got off the bus and we did mirrors, we had to wait for the bus driver to open up the bottom things and pull luggage out. So I'm like, all right, Tyler, Tanner, Lori, Dad, you guys wait right here for luggage. Mom, let's go over to Bell Services. So we went to Bell Services, gave them our name. They went back. Out came the scooter. They were getting luggage. We all walked in. It was perfect. It was waiting for us. And then on our day coming back home, I had the scooter reserved until 1:00. Mom decided, you know what, I'll walk when we go to the bus to go to Chef Mickey's for breakfast at the Contemporary. And so we went ahead and just returned the scooter at that point in time with Bell Services. And I had emails from Scooterbug the day we were heading down, the day before we were heading down, the day we came home, the day after we came home. It was a great experience. They were wonderful to work with. So I would encourage or recommend them. And I know, Tina, you've had experience with Scooterbug, and they were wonderful as well. Yeah, I can't imagine who would have said something like that, JJ. That sounds like just a crazy person that would say that they would push you in a wheelchair if it meant you got to go. Must be somebody that cares a lot about you, though. I can imagine that. Let's see here. So, okay, Animal Kingdom, we did not have multi-pass. We rope dropped. We were going to rope drop Flight of Passage. But by the time we got there, the line was almost an hour wait. And so we decided not to do that. So we rope dropped Navi, and we were probably on that ride within 3 or 4 minutes. And then we went over and did the safari, maybe waited 10 minutes at most, did that. Once we got off there, we went and checked in at Tusker House for our breakfast, did breakfast. We did Dinosaur. Everest was ridden multiple times. Flight of Passage did get ridden later in the day. We did the Lion King show. We did not do Cali River Rapids. We did not get to Nemo. We did not get to the bird show. We did do Rafiki's Planet Watch. We took the train back to the conservation station. Briggs had a ball in the petting zoo, mooing at the cow, petting the goats. He had a ball with all of that. He loved the I think there was a tortoise in one of the cages inside the building. He loved that. I'll tell you, at Epcot in the aquarium, he could have stood and watched the manatees for, I bet, an hour. He just enjoyed that as well. So sometimes some of the best things are just those little experiences, and you're not having to race from ride to ride to ride. Yeah, Tina, exactly. As long as whoever that super kind person was that offered to push you in a wheelchair, as long as they don't go push you down a hill or stairs. And speaking of that, if you're familiar with Hollywood Studios, when you walk down the main strip and there's the Chinese theater straight in front of you, as you get really close to it, if you're going to go to the right to head towards Toy Story Land, there's stairs. And then just to the left of the stairs, there's a walkway for people on scooters or wheelchairs or people that with strollers that don't want to go down the stairs. Every time we walked that way, I would stop towards the top of the steps and point and make sure my mom knew to go to the walkway, because I just had this fear that she would be distracted with whatever, knowing that we're walking in this direction, that she would just follow us and that scooter would go ripping right down the stairs. So I I made sure that didn't happen. Ronnie, I'm sure that person is a super kind person, whoever that may be. Free ride in your book. Yeah, so now the scooter was great. Everything worked out well with that. And like I said, the multi-pass was wonderful for us. I know it's not for everybody and it's not in everybody's budget. I totally get that. But it just struck me that if your intent is to ride every ride, it's cheaper to get multi-pass than it is to buy a second day park pass or a third day park pass, depending upon how many you need. So got to keep that in mind when you're looking at the financial side of things. Okay. I think that's all I had on my list for tonight. We got through all the questions. I guess I didn't cover any of the promotional things or news, so let's do that really fast. Disney announced this week that the Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith will be operational through the end of 2025. So any of us that are going to be there for the Park Life Party in November and you're a coaster person or you want to ride it with me, it will be running and we will be able to enjoy it before it closes forever. The Muppets will take over that ride sometime in 2026. I know I shared this previously, but the Disney Starlight Parade will debut on July 20th. That's pretty exciting. The construction walls at Epcot's test track came down earlier this week, I think yesterday or maybe Sunday. So that's certainly good progress towards an opening date for what they're still saying later this summer. If you missed it, yesterday was Donald Duck's birthday. Anybody know how old he is as of yesterday's birthday? I'll pause for your answers on that. Tina says he's 101. Anybody else got a guess? Don't be shy. And don't be Googling either. Put in your guess. How old is Donald Duck as of yesterday's birthday? Nobody else wants to guess? Ageless. There you go, JJ. I like that answer. So the correct answer, Tina, you were kind of close. He actually turned 91 yesterday. He made his debut in 1934. So that would make him 91 as of yesterday. Last bit of news, Disney did announce that the last day of operation for Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer's Island, Liberty Square Boat will be July 6th, which is a Sunday. So if you have massive desire to see and do any of those things, you want to get there before July 7th because they will be closed down at that point in time. Which leads me to think it'll be interesting to see what that area looks like when we're all down there for the Park Life Party, November 13th through the 15th. I can't wait to see the progress. As I think y'all know, Muppets 3D closed its doors down on Saturday, I think it was June 7th. It's now gone forever, which breaks my heart. But it's progress, and I'm totally excited for the Monsters Inc. area that's going to be put in there in the next couple of years. Excited for the new roller coaster that resembles riding through the vault with all of the closet doors. It's pretty cool. And I thought Disney did it right. If you didn't see this on social media, first off, the line for Muppets 3D on the 7th was like an hour wait throughout a good part of the day, which is pretty cool. I think at one point I saw the line extended all the way back to the tunnel that you walk through that you then get to Galaxy's Edge. The very last show that they did that night, the last guest to walk into the theater was Jim Henson's daughter. I thought that was really cool on Disney's part to do that. So yes, Tina, thank you. Park Life Party is November 13th through the 15th. Excited for that. I think we're like 150-ish days away, 153, something like that. Let's see here. I think that was it for news. No brand new promotions going on. They still have up to 30% off rooms through October 11th. Florida residents up to 35% off through October 11th. They have a Florida 4-day park ticket for $60 per day. That runs through September 27th. 2026, kids eat free in the dining plan with paid adult dining plan purchase. And then through September 20th, right now, 50% off kids tickets ages 3 through 9. Yeah, wasn't that cool, Tina, that they did that with Henson's daughter? I thought that was a great touch to wrap up that show. But I'm excited to see what the roller coaster is going to be like next year when they turn that into Muppets. I think that'll be pretty cool. There's all sorts of massive speculation already flying around that when Villains Land opens in Magic Kingdom, they're going to take the Villains show out of Hollywood Studios and they're going to put Muppets 3D back in that theater, which is right next to Rock and Roller Coaster, which would be Muppets themed at that point in time. I don't know whether that'll happen or not. I forgot to mention that we did see the Villain show. Cool show, nice theater. If you were ever in there for the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy, you kind of sat on benches. These are more theater style seating. And I don't want to give too much away, but the end of each show can be different from the previous. So it's all live action. We saw Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook. I think those are the three that we saw, and then they have some on screen as well. But cool show. I think it'll do really well. We did not see the new Little Mermaid show. Time ran out on us, and not to mention the fact the wait was about an hour all day long for that show. And I figure we saw the old one. It can't be that much different to wait for an hour. So we skipped that one. But things to look forward to in November. I'm already starting to think long and hard about November's trip and how we're going to do that for us. Lori and I will be there for an entire week. So I'm just trying to decide, do we want park tickets for every single day we're there? Do we want to have a resort day? Do we want to have 2 resort days? What do we want to do? Do we want to have park days for every day, but maybe not rope drop and stay all day and all night and take it a little easy on days? So we're starting to tinker around all of that stuff and figure those things out. Thank you, Ronnie, for posting that. I appreciate that. It's the last podcast dropped yesterday. It was regarding why the summer of 2026 is a good time to go. Is that right? No, wait. What's today's date? Today's the 10th. So it was Hidden Gems is what it was. And then we have next week's. JJ, yes, I'm actually waiting to see the Little Mermaid show with you so that I can wear those ears proudly during the show. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you what next week's podcast is that's set and ready to go on Monday the 16th. I'll keep it a surprise. If anybody has topics that you'd like to hear about, let me know, and I will happily do that. I need to record my next set of podcasts so that they're ready to go. And then, like I said at the beginning, if any of you didn't catch right away, I'm not ready to do it yet, but I think pretty soon I'm going to try to we'll do live on YouTube here, and I'll have my phone on my TikTok channel going live there. So we'll see how that goes and try to draw on more audience participation between the two platforms, and maybe drive more people over to our YouTube channel here so that we can grow and visit with everybody. Okay, I think that is a wrap then. We did an hour and a half about, so I think that's good for tonight. I really appreciate everybody joining. Thank you so very much. I love doing these. I love getting your questions. I love to be able to research them and provide answers, talk about Disney news and whatever else we get to talk about. Obviously, tonight I got to share a little bit about our trip. And I feel like I didn't even do it justice. I was beyond over the moon. I think maybe I said this last week, but my top 3 trips ever in all of the times we've been. My very first time when I was a kid in 1976 when I saw Goofy water ski in Seven Seas Lagoon. First time we took Tanner when he was about 2 years old, and I spent 80% of my trip in line for character meet and greets and got to see him hug everybody and have princesses kiss him on the cheeks and forehead. And then this trip with Briggs. I don't know that anything's going to unseat those. Obviously, when we take Poppy here in a couple of years, that'll probably be my top 4 trips, but pretty amazing. So, all right, gang. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I love that you guys like to hang out with me and we get to chit chat like this. So thank you very much. If you have friends, family that you think they would enjoy this, by all means, share that with them. I know Jessica had pulled in a couple of her friends last week and they joined and enjoyed getting to do that. Thank you, Tina. That's the Discord link. If you're not a member on Discord, we'd love to have you over there as well. But that's a wrap. I hope you have a great night and an even better tomorrow. And remember, when you wake up tomorrow, it'll be a great day to be alive. I will see you all next week. Next week, we are on Tuesday night again. I have a conflict on Wednesday, so we'll be live again next Tuesday night. All right, guys. Thanks again. Take care. Be kind. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.